He likes to use this for his bloopers reel.
I do actually.
I know.
But let's start with how this episode came about, shall we? Let's keep it real. Stephanie and my relationship, Chris. Yesterday, can you send me topics for podcast tomorrow so I can share with Chris? Hi, I don't have any. You approached me about having Chris on. Remember, I asked if he would have fresh content. Okay, then I'll figure it out.
That's us. We always have fresh content, though. I'll tell you that.
And the reason for the question was not to come up with things to talk about. The reason for the question was to narrow it down. Otherwise, we would just keep talking.
Yeah, and actually, I love what you came up with, and it's super, super timely. Let's just roll with this.
Yeah.
Hi, this is welcome to Yoga Biz Champ. We have returning serial guest Stephanie Breaux Bradley, who's probably been on about 8 times now, I think, and Chris Appiah from the Sales Arms, who has been on a couple of times now. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate you.
And the fresh content topic that we're going to talk about today, and I think it actually is really timely because I am having these conversations, especially with the studios that haven't planned as in advance as we like them to be doing, and that is summer. And so, whether you do a sale in the summer, what's the sales, what's the staffing situation? It's I've got a lot to talk about on this. I've had great experience on this, but Steph, you approached me about this. So where do you want to take it?
I want to start with the summer because I'm like you with the clients that we're dealing with. I think there's a couple of things at hand. If you pay attention to your numbers and you can see when the dips of your revenue happen, you can plan accordingly. And this could go one of 2 ways, because I think it's always like a mental stop for the summer because you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I don't have a lot of business coming in. And I think one of 2 things can happen. Like I said before, planning ahead of what it looks like, and or realizing that this could be your time to get back to the processes and the procedures in your business that you need to tweak to have an outstanding fall. And I think that when it comes to what the summer looks like, there are a lot of things to take into account. And I'd love to get everyone's take on it when it comes to, do I shorten my schedule? I have less staff to teach classes, which means I have less staff to follow up with sales. And I think it's important for all the listeners to know that you can never stop marketing. Like, even if you're having a good month, you can never start the selling process because then you're going to all of a sudden wake up and go, where is everybody? But you haven't sold or marketed or fine-tuned your sales process ahead of time.
I will say that it's not always about finances suffering in the summer, always, right? For me, it was always about attendance. It's like you want to keep people in the habit of trying to come in. What are you seeing, Chris?
Yeah, that's often what I see during the summer. And that's why we always preach planning ahead, right? Although not everybody does that.
Yeah.
What's important and what I like to do in the summer with our clients is focus on a promotion, right? Because that will encompass the sales portion of the business. A challenge, right? Because that is going to focus on the utilization for the business during the summertime. And then always, my big one is training, right? Using the slower time to continue the education of how to be the best, how to create the best community, and how to give back and hold your clients accountable so that they fall in love and continue to stay in love with the business.
Yeah. I did my summer, I've heard different takes on that. I mean, there's so many different takes on the summer, right? But for me, I combined it all. It was a sale and a challenge. And for me, I didn't want it to just be a yoga challenge. A lot of the hot yogas do come every single day, right? So I made it a little bit more holistic. It was like, come to the studio, do yoga 5 times a week, commit to 3 of those at the studio. Home practice can be part of that. So a little bit of flexibility there. Meditate 7 days a week for 5 minutes. That's a big commitment. And cardio 3 days a week. Because I think in the yoga world, we get a little bit focused on that stretch is the be all end all, right, in overall health. And so we created a real all around kind of challenge that I felt kind of hit all those marks. And we sold it as a package for 2 months and blew it out of the every year.
Exactly, and I love that, right? And that is always a part of what I preach in adding to a challenge. But there's also some great things that you could do to help the back end of the business as well, that you can filter into that challenge as well. So some things that I like to suggest are come to class with a friend, right? That's one thing that'll get you a point in the challenge. Leave a review on our web on Google, right?
That's kind of like the bingo kind of thing.
Exactly. Exactly. So that there's a little bit of gamification that is involved as well, because like we all know, we got to keep spicing up our fitness so that it's not just the exercise or the workout, right? So that gets people excited to play within the business, right? And all of those little things can help increase the brand awareness and what people are saying about the facility, because now there's more going on than just class.
Yeah. And I think, Steph, data is important here too, right? It's not that everything, it's not that we have to do a sale in the summer, or, that might not be our business thing, but the data of our business tells us the ebbs and flows. And so the low periods of participation and the low periods or highs and lows of finances. So that's why I say you have to be strategic in your business to put that challenge in at the right time, anything there.
And on the subject of continuing to market, I know for some studios are like, oh my God, things are slower. What if you now looked at the summer as your like ramp to pre-sell your fall? Right? Like putting things into place as you're putting this challenge together. It's not just catering to them. On the back end, you need to keep talking about what that looks like. So now is a great time to plan what August through December looks like. So that people are talking about it and come back, because the summers, especially if you have kids, you're loving the first couple of weeks. Like, this is amazing. And then you're like, shit, I have to entertain these kids for like another 7 weeks. What does that look like? I'm going to need a break as well, kind of thing. Because I think a lot of us miss the beat, like our clients aren't coming because they don't want to. And that's not the case at all. I also feel like the summer is a great time to kind of put those social things into place. Also, when it comes to, let's meet at the local coffee shop, let's go for a walk, whatever that looks like. But I think it's real important to keep your eye on the ball in the fall. So start your marketing, solidify your sales process, maybe retrain your staff on what it looks like. Continuing education is always a good time for the summer to do it. And another thing, I think, if you plan ahead, a lot of yoga studios find a lot of revenue generating opportunities for their training, their teacher trainings. And so if you can plan ahead and look at that also as a pre-sale, what would it look like if you created a payment plan? So you start selling it in March and that person has a way to pay it off, but you still get all your money when it starts in the summer.
Speaking of summer, I'm going to jump in here because my starter studio package has a whole bunch of resources that I give to my clients. One of the things that I love is really grassroots marketing. And so yoga studios do really, really well at markets and events and things like that. So I've got a fantastic guide that's packed with helpful tips on how to get buzz at events and creating an engaging booth. So if you head over to yogabizchamp.com/podlink and click on resources, you'll see a drop-down menu that leads you to my shiny object, which is my market and event guide. So that's yogabizchamp.com/podlink. Chris, what are you seeing on the conversations? So you're in the depths here, conversations with studio owners. So what are you seeing kind of on the front of preparing for summer and the conversations you're having around that and successes and, areas that need plugging?
A number of our clients that have been with us over a year, right, we are ready for it, right? So we're excited about it. We have created promotions to see who is still active within our system with a smaller package discount that just got people to buy so we knew who to speak to. But then creating a summer package is one of the things that we always do that is a paid in full. So we can get as much up front that will help hold us through the summer.
Survive the summer.
Exactly. So that's what we do early with the clients that have been with us. With new people, it's really helping them understand the nuances of the summer and what you need to do to prepare for it. And the biggest thing is getting your team and your staff prepared for the difference of flow during the summer, how to interact differently with people when you're reaching out to them because of, like Steph said, the kids might be in the background now. You might not have as much time for yourself as well, and really fact finding in your outreach to understand where people are so you can specifically prescribe what's going to be best for them over the course of the summer that they can get within your business. So really understanding how to communicate is very important during this time, and conveying that to your team members so that they're doing that as well. But one of the biggest issues that the studio owners face is even having the team members to be able to do this work.
And the flux of summer, with holiday vacation.
They're going on vacation. They had this planned. Oh, my family's coming in now, right? I need to do all of this, right? And I think because of that, historically, the busiest time of the year for us at the sales arms, and when I say busy, it's adding more new clients, comes during the summertime. And I think that's because of the lack of consistency in the staffing during the summer, and even the people that have been with you, for a long term, your general managers, your sales managers who are rock stars, right? They need a break as well. So just being able to have that additional support, I think makes sense during the summer, right? So it's allowed for it to be one of our most successful times as our company, but it also lends itself to that continued education in this time.
Yeah.
Right? When you bring us on, it's all about training and teaching on best practices of running the studio. So if you do that during the summer, you have the ability to, like Steph said, now prep for what's going to be your busy time in the fall.
So can you tell me a couple of things? You said prescribe them, which I love that word, right? Because it's finding out what their goals and then kind of helping them be successful. But can you tell me kind of some of the sales conversations that you
so
in the training?
Yeah, so like I was saying, we like to test the database right before summer comes to see.
So are you talking like June? Like if we were talking,
I would say like May
in prep for June.
Late May, early June, right? We want to put something out there that's going to give us a feel on where our database is in terms of wanting to come in for class. So one of the best ones that I do, and I'm giving it to you guys can all do it as well.
Freebie here.
A complimentary class, right? And I know everyone's like, oh, here we go, free class. I've done a free class. But
my hair on my head that I don't have just went up.
Right? In most cases, it's not done right? You're just saying to somebody, hey, here's a free class, come in. What we do is we make you, quote unquote, earn that free class, right? With information. So, hey, we're giving everybody a complimentary class to get you kicked off for your summer routine. Would you want to take advantage of that, right? People say yes. That lets us know of all the people that are in the database who's interested. Okay, great.
Is that a call or a text or an email?
It's going to be both, right? Text messages get the highest response rate. Calls get the best close percentage, right? That's what I say to people. So you have to make sure you're using a combination of both to really meet your prospect where they're at. But the key to the complimentary class is having them earn it with information, right? So we add to that, okay, great, you're interested in taking advantage of that complimentary class. All you'll have to do is answer 3 questions for us. And in most cases, those questions are, are you currently working out right now, right? How many days a week do you like to train, or are you shooting to train? And what do you like? What interests you most about our yoga facility, right? So we're asking these three questions because it's going to allow us, once we have those answers, to prescribe
Yes.
exactly what is
Love
going
it.
to fit that individual once they've come to class. So they've given you those three answers. Now you book them in for that complimentary class. After that class, I now know you're looking to train with us at least 3 to 4 times a week over the summer. You're currently working out now, wherever it is, I now know. So I have an idea of what you're paying for your fitness. And
Uh-huh.
I know what you're most interested in my facility, right? So I can personalize the offer for you exactly to what's going to fit you. And that makes a very big difference in converting in the summertime,
Mhm.
where in many cases we generalize our promotion, right?
Mhm.
Summer is that time to specialize in specifying that promotion to the individual that you're speaking to. And this has been a great way to be able to do that.
So we're talking about prescribing them to feel successful,
Mhm.
Well,
right? So,
that's the thing. A lot of people kind of try to put people in a general box. I want you to get the unlimited or get the
yeah, yeah,
10 pack, right? But when it comes to fitness, you need to be intentional in what you're doing to be successful, right? Not everybody's an unlimited,
yeah,
exerciser,
yeah,
and not everybody should be on a package because they need that continued charge to remind them about
yeah.
what they're supposed to be doing. So this allows you to really hone in, get personal with the people that you're signing up, because that's going to set the tone for them once they become a member of that community and personalization that your
Yeah.
facility brings versus the other guys that are just trying to run people through. Because what we see at the Sales Arms are the most successful clients that we have are successful in creating experience
Yeah,
and community
yeah,
and making
100%.
everybody feel like an individual.
Yeah.
So that's what's really most important in this time now.
Steph,
The whole
I
time I'm
feel
thinking,
she's looking like she's holding back.
uh, no, because this was very eye opening for me because I know Chris alluded, like back in the day when I was a studio owner, it was new client special to unlimited because that's what I
Yeah,
wanted them to
yeah,
do. That was the best thing for my business. And quickly realizing that that wasn't necessarily showcasing the fact that I wanted to help that particular person on that particular journey. So you can personalize what that looks like depending on what they're telling you and what they're showing. And to what Chris said in his example, whatever they tell you, you can then regurgitate that to them
yeah,
because it's their words. And a lot of
yeah,
times you can use their words to overcome whatever is the objection that they have. And what Chris says a lot when we're preaching to the clients is, and it makes sense when you think about it, this is such an emotional purchase. This is such a relationship business. And it also can be intimidating and scary as shit. And you don't know who in
yeah,
their life is supporting them,
yeah,
right? So, as the studio, the owner, the instructors, the front desk manager, you are their full support system. And it could be for other than just physical, it could be mental and emotional. So being heard and being listened to as a client who wants to go in their journey is very important. So if you speak back to me in my language and are
yeah.
catering to me on based on what I said, I feel heard. I now trust you, and I am going to follow what you prescribe that I need to do.
That's one of the big reasons
Yeah.
why I tell people as well, all outreach is not made the same. The person that is going to be reaching out to your prospects and your members needs to be passionate about the job that they're doing because it's
Oh,
not about us. It's not about us. It's about the person on the other side. And each person needs you to be the best version
yeah,
of that person on the other end for them, right? So you need to have somebody that's passionate about it because if you have somebody that's just going through the motions, that's going to spill into the conversation, the energy. That person's going to feel it, and they're going to look for true, genuine energy and feeling somewhere else because they can tell they're not getting it there.
Yeah. I see the difference between the studio owners that really feel their worth and their passion and they put it out there. But in my world, there's a lot of shy studio owners when it comes to selling or even asking for what they want, asking them to attend more on their intro pass. There's a real shyness there that I'm really even more discovering lately with people. So, I mean, sell yourself here, because the sales arm, this is where you really help. And if anybody listened to home studio, you guys are having some real successes. I've seen you guys in the last couple of years, like you're on the tip of people's tongues a lot now.
It's because we all need the support, right? We're not everybody is salespeople in the fitness and wellness space, but at the end of the day, these studios are sales businesses, right? You have to sell memberships and packages to keep the lights on, to give these people, these places that they can call community. But if that's not your thing, right, you need somebody that you could bring in and trust to do it. And what I created at the sales arms is a place where you have fitness professionals, people who have worked within studios, who are active instructors now, who love fitness, but are also there to deliver that love for people and bringing out the best in them, right? We're passionate about making these calls, making these texts, having those harder conversations with your prospects, right? Respectfully calling them out on their bullshit, so to speak, right? It's like you
give an example of that.
Well, we'll use the example of we had the complimentary class. You told me that you wanted to work out 3 times a week. You're not really doing anything now, and this is something that you want to change for yourself. And then you take the class, and I say, "Awesome! How was it?" You said, "I loved it." And I said, "Okay, perfect. Well, because you're not training now, I think the 4-class monthly or an 8-class monthly is going to be perfect for you because you can come once a week and start to build a habit
them to
again,
where they're at.
or you can come twice a week, right? And really dive into it, right?"
Okay, yeah.
I got to think about it, right? Everybody hears I got to think about it. It's like, I hear I got to think about it all the time, Michael. But you told me before you even came in here that you wanted to train 3 times a week, that it's important for you because of your family in your life that you want to be there for. What exactly is it that you have to think about, right? And use, like Stephanie said, use all the information that we acquired on the front end to really hold them accountable to what they said they really want. And when you deliver it like that, they have most people, right, have that aha moment like, all right, I'm not going to do that again to myself, right? Because you're only treating yourself there, but it's uncomfortable for a lot of people to challenge that, right? And that's one of the aspects of being a great salesperson, right? How to deliver that message in overcoming a objection, right? In a way that makes the person feel heard and not feel like you're just trying to sell them, right? And that's what that's what we, specialize in at the sales arm. We allow you to be the face, create the community, create the experience, and allow us to be the individuals who are going to do that harder work in following up, being the person that's going to hold people accountable to what they said for your business. And
so that could be, you said you were going to do this challenge, you were going to commit to this challenge through the summer.
Exactly. But not only that, right? I think, the real reason why, we were really popular right now is because people are understanding and really realizing that this portion of the business is so volatile in terms of turnover. There's got to be a way to create some level of consistency so that no matter what, this part of the business is always running, no matter who gets a career job offer or who has to go on vacation with their family members. The way we're built is that the work is going to get done no matter what, Monday to Friday. Some people have us Monday to Sunday, right? Working every day of the week in their facility because they know that with us there, the leads that are coming in are always going to be reached out to, and it's going to come off as a white glove service, right? Because a big thing right now is AI, automations, all of this stuff to help ease the lead management process because people can't find individuals to do this job. But we're boutique, we're high end. We're supposed to be creating this high end experience. You tell me what high end brands you know that have you dealing with robots and automation through the entire process. None, right? You go into Louis Vuitton, right? There's somebody at the door still waiting to greet
we're
you,
in the human being business,
right? You go to a high end restaurant. You don't see the credit card machine on the middle of the table to check yourself out at that high-end restaurant. You have a waiter or a waitress who's going to come up and give you that white glove service, right? If you're going to brag about being boutique, yes, it's important to have automation and technology within your business. But by the end of the process, there must be somebody that has a true human connection with the individual that is inquiring about your business, because that's what makes it high end. That's what makes it personalized. And that's what sets you apart from everybody else who's just trying to have a passive business in the fitness world.
Yeah. 100%. Hallelujah. Yeah.
So circling back to what he said, and we were talking about the slower months, I challenge everyone listening to this podcast to take a look at your expenses, see what your budget looks like, and then take a look at the major responsibilities that need to be done in your business and what it is that you enjoy doing, that you bring value, that you're very good at, and what is it that needs to be outsourced. And to what Chris says, if you're going to hire a college kid to work the front desk so that they can fill a spot and fold the tables and greet everyone, that's paid maybe $12, $14 an hour. And because they're just sitting there, they might as well make sales calls. You better be pretty damn sure that that person is able to deliver the brand name, the passion, and actually do it. Because I know, like, for some of us, and I'm speaking back in the day as a sales, I did all my emails, everything should be fine. It's not a one and done kind of thing. I mean, how many emails do you come through, you read, you're like, I'm interested. I've got to be reminded a couple of times. And maybe I'm not connecting through email. Maybe I need a text. Maybe I need a phone call. What does that look like? So I think establishing that process and then really fine tuning on what you need to outsource to do an amazing job. Because if you are doing a great job for the experience, but nobody is following up after, you're going to be letting some sales fall through the cracks.
And the sales has to come from all angles, right? Or it can't be just
the conversation,
text, But it also, so Chris, can you tell me a little bit about the training of the staff? Because that's a big part of the front desk has to also reflect the right questions, and the teachers, and so the whole thing has to come from every angle, right? It can't just be one sales technique. It has to be.
Well, that's the hard part about running a fitness business, right, is that there's a number of moving parts and there's a number of touch points that a client goes through with different individuals within the business. It's not just the instructor, right? There is the front desk employee, there is the owner, there is the instructor, right? So it is very important that everybody understands within their role. In most cases, when I'm training, it's in their zone, right? How to communicate with people in that portion of the journey, right? So when somebody steps into the facility, how you should greet them, the things you should talk about, the things you should bring up, and the things you shouldn't bring up, right?
Mm. Yeah.
and then that transfer of trust going into the studio with the instructor, and what the instructor should be saying in regards to helping plant the seed for the future for the client, right? I always walk a very fine line with instructors and selling, right? I don't really want to,
it's an iffy area in my world.
it's an iffy area, period, right? Because you do want to, uphold that trainer, instructor, client relationship and keep it genuine. But that doesn't mean you're not the most educated person in that situation. That person's in your class because they believe you'll be able to get them to their goal, whatever that goal is. So you as the instructor have, the responsibility to suggest what
100%.
you believe is going to be most effective for what they've told you they want to achieve, right? So that's not selling,
No, but that's like Sally's class. You're stressed out. You should go to Sally's class on Friday night because you are going to leave feeling amazing.
Exactly. Or if you're stressed out by Friday every week, you should come at least on Saturday and just release it every week, right?
I love
at least once a week, right? You saying at least once a week will then translate to when they get back to the front desk and you say, we believe what's going to be best for you, like Michael just said, will be either our 4-class monthly or our 8-class, because you coming once a week is going to be perfect for you releasing that stress that you were talking about earlier. So I think the 4 might be great, but a lot of people take the 8 because they want to create a habit and come twice a week.
Yeah,
What's
that suggestion, right? Yeah,
it's all a suggestion, a prescription with an alternate choice, right? So that the client doesn't have to think too hard about how it all works. You got 2 options that fit you great for these 2 reasons. Which one works best for you? And then it leads to making an easy decision for the client, but it also creates experience, right? And they feel heard throughout the entire process within the facility, and they don't feel like they're being pushed into a package that might not be best for them, right? They're the ones deciding what's going to fit best for them when it's all said and done.
Yeah. I'm shopping. I talked to Stephanie on a podcast that's going to be coming out soon, but I've been shopping for a gym, and it's such an interesting experience because I went to the gym in defensive mode. I was like ready for them to sell me. I'm in the industry. I'm going to know better. Like, you're not going to get the best of me. Like, literally, that was the mode I went in because I knew that their techniques were going to be what they were going to be. And I knew that from the texts that I was getting, which were terrible, and the email. It was just a whole terrible situation. And then you got there and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. But we wanted to kind of do the opposite of that, right? Make people feel comfortable, come in, here's some choices, but it's not that hard kind of, laminated piece of paper with the packages on it.
And that kind of leads me into one of the things we had said we wanted to touch on, which is technology and artificial intelligence within the industry. There's a lot of people using AI in so many different ways, and like we had mentioned, there's people there's software that's out there that makes it easier to create automated responses and things like that. And you're seeing that, right? You were getting those texts where you could tell. You're like, this is the person.
I was getting texts for for an event that wasn't a meeting that wasn't even on. Like, I'd met with them and then I was getting texts for sorry you missed your meeting. I'm like, I didn't even have one. Like, it was just like already it was bad.
The technology, it's not perfect, right? But people are being sold on this is all you need, this is all you got to do, and they put it in their business.
The conversation starter for me.
And immediately, right, people are getting these messages and they're turned off right away. What did you say? You got into defense mode immediately, right? So how you use this technology is very, very important, right? And for us, right, I'll use the sales arm as an example, right? The way we like to have automation set up are in the areas where, automated or not, the question, the conversation is going to be the same, right? So, a first text, hey, Michael, it's
Yep.
so nice that you had interest in our facility. When do you think you want to come in for, first, right? Something, that first message, speed to lead is so important, right? You're
Yep.
not going to be a computer. You can automate that initial message, right?
Yeah, that's it. I say that's the conversation starter, but you don't. Then
But
the
then
humanness
you
has to
have
come in, right?
1, 2, 3, 4 automations after that. That second automation, somebody's like, "Oh wait, this
Yeah,
is a computer," right?
completely.
And it's so funny, right? Because at the sales runs, we're people behind all the messages that go out. It's I can't tell you how often we have to tell people, like, no, we're actually people on the other side, right? Because people are just so used
Yeah.
to the AI and the tech and the automation that people are using, and they're getting hip to it, right? So while you want to have these automations and you want to use, these technologies to help make you a little bit more efficient, you should always have somebody on the back end of these messages that are able to add that human element in. And that's what we do, at the sales round. Right? We're using AI to help streamline those intro
The
messages,
initial,
right? To
yep.
get that conversation going.
Yep.
But as soon as that conversation's going, a real person plugs into it, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the big ways that we use it, and we have our clients use it as well, right? Making sure that if it's set up where we're going to get an alert when we need to now step in and be the real person behind that message.
Yeah. I'm just going to do some clarity here because not everybody will be familiar about kind of studio communications, but this is about automated triggers based on data, right? So meaning if you came to your first class, the automation would go out with a welcome, some feedback kind of stuff. But it's triggered based on something, a purchase, an action in the booking platform usually, right? And so but I 100% agree with you, Chris, on that such an amazing tool to start the conversation. And I did a sales training thing, and they talked about it called sales by chat. And it's like the automation starts the conversation, but you have to have the humanness carry that on. And I was just, we all know one of my clients, Sarah, and I went into her account the other day. I'm like, your automations are firing awesome, but they're coming across as automated text. Like we need to humanize the actual message a bit more.
Yeah, and that's what's really important, like I said, because we're supposed to be selling a high-end service, right? People want to have that human touch, right? So that could be the big factor that sets you apart from the yoga studio that's up the road, who, to no fault of theirs, is not using any technology because they're just not techie people. But they spend the time to call and speak to each person. It makes everybody feel like an individual. So they're seeing great success, right? You ask, oh, you're not using this, you're not using that. It's like old school still works, right? Because people want to have that true connection. It's an emotional buy. People want to talk about when they were most successful, how they fell off, and what they're going to do to get back on, right? A computer, can't really relate to that, right? And you don't want to tell that story to a computer. It feels like you're talking to a wall, right? So it does sometimes. And so it always brings it back to, regardless, you should always have somebody on that's going to be able to tap in, deliver that passion and that personalization that shows that in your studio, we care about what you have to say, what you've gone through, and where you're going.
I think it's important to note, to caveat on what you said, Chris, is that the fitness boutique owner now, or not owner, but user is much more sophisticated now.
Yes. Yeah.
So what COVID did and kind of opened the eyes to how important health is, and now they will pay good money, but that experience better be good to pay. Because like you said, there's a myriad of places that I can go where I can get as good of a workout, and I can also feel like I'm part of the community, and I can feel heard. So I think from beginning to end, like looking at your sales process and that your brand and those feelings are consistent throughout the whole thing, because this sophisticated
Yep.
consumer has already researched everything when it comes to price and what you offer and that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to find the right connection for me. And that can only be done through a conversation that is
Yeah.
either over the phone or in person. And so the transfer of trust that he was talking about, that needs to be figured out so everybody is on the same page. And the consumer doesn't feel like I'm having the same conversation and saying the same thing. Like, let's all get on the same page to really learn what this person needs and wants and accommodate accordingly.
Yeah. I mean, a client that feels successful and feels good is a client that stays around.
Yeah, but that feeling of success and feeling good changes within that client as the seasons change, right?
Yep.
So it's very important that you have a cadence to continue to follow up with even your members, right? We didn't
Yeah.
talk much about this, right? But when we're also sales focused, we sell people, then we're right on to trying to get to the next one. And that person is at the beginning of their fitness journey, and they need somebody to help them continue to book their classes, stay motivated, talk about, how they're feeling and whatnot. And a lot of studio owners drop the ball there because, again,
100%.
it's a tedious part of the job that involves, calling, texting,
It's a
whole
hyper focus that's
conversation.
needed on that part needs hyper focus. And that is the area I really see, I call it leakage in the business. We spend all this effort to get people in, marketing, money or effort. And, we get them in. I can't even tell you how many times I see someone come in on an intro offer and then they're kind of ignored when I first meet with a client, or go in and see the inbox hasn't been responded to since yesterday, and I'm like so that's such an important area. I think that I really hope everybody's really listening to this. When new people come in, I don't care how you track it, whether you're hiring somebody, you're doing it yourself. I have some people tracking new clients on a handwritten paper or a post-it note on a wall, or whatever works for you to feel motivated to keep an eye on that process. And exactly what you said, Chris, there was before, was that if you, or you maybe said it, Stephanie, but if you hate, if you're not strong in that area, that's where you hire. I always say triple down on your superpowers, hire for the stuff you're not good at. If you hate bookkeeping, hire an awesome bookkeeper that's going to help you get to your goal. And same thing, I think, with sales here. If you can't keep an eye on the prize, which is keeping customers, then I think, hiring a service like yours is great.
Lead and member nurture, it gets kind of mixed into the sales process when it's its own process completely, right? Like selling somebody is one thing, right? That's the act of, hey, this is what I have, you purchase it, right? But getting to that conversation is nurture, right? And it takes effort and skill in that nurture phase to get somebody to the sale that you want to make, right? And then once you've sold them, they now have to fall into a bucket of member nurture, right? So that that person that you sold
They're not dropping off
to pay your business over 3 months, 6 months, a year. As long as you're open, you don't want that person to go, right? So nurture is how you hold your members as well. And I don't see many job posts that say we need you to nurture our current clients.
That's a great point.
We need you to make sure the people that are members continue to book on a week-to-week basis. We need you to build rapport with everybody that has paid us money in our business to make sure that they continue to do that. You'll never see it on job descriptions. You don't hear that as what the sales job entails. It's forgotten, right? And that's where you tend to see your membership numbers are being great. You're selling, but your attrition is just as high as your membership. So it's just spinning wheels in
churn,
essentially, right? Where you don't ever get to realize the fruits of your labor, right? You never get to see it because you're just spinning because you're not nurturing, right? So spending money
and I
on
think
what you're going to nurture
is
something that a lot more people should be focusing on. And that person, especially for membership, they don't need to be a sales expert. They just need to be a genuine person
totally
who cares about how somebody.
I authentically want you to enjoy the studio and enjoy this, and I'm so proud of this studio that I feel okay to say these things, right? And I will say about yoga studio owners, nobody's going to scream as loud as you are. You can sell people, you can hire people, but you should be able to really, be passionate about your business.
And I think if you're really good about the nurturing of the clients, it can open up doors for them to become bigger spenders. Like they already trust you. So when you're like, hey, we're going to go on a retreat, I trust you, I'll go. Hey, I have this workshop on X, Y, and Z. I trust you, I'll go. Hey, I'm going to order retail, like the revenue streams that can open up. And
so bringing it back to our topic today, Summer, I mean, so that's your lead into fall, right?
Exactly.
Look
at us, brought it full circle. We didn't even realize.
Full circle. That's a wrap, folks. That's a wrap, folks. Chris, tell us about all your weightlifting successes. I've been watching you a little bit on.
Well, I just won my third state championship in New Jersey, but unfortunately, I bulged 2 discs, so L3 and L4, and I herniated L5 and S1. So
that is not good for your.
I'm on the shelf.
To hear that.
Yeah, I'm on the shelf. So
and a good physiotherapist.
I'm doing physical therapy, and they're having me do a lot more stretching. I
that yoga,
have to take up a little bit more yoga in my day today for sure.
So maybe the next time we're going to have a progress report on Chris's yoga journey.
Exactly.
And if anybody's in the New Jersey area listening and could work with Chris at their yoga studio, let us know.
Please let me know. Invite me in. I'm willing to go and try.
And I gotta say, you got the cutest daughter. I've been watching you on social media. Your little daughter is so cute. She's adorable.
2.5 going on 13.
Yeah, and you look like you are so happy and proud and loving. She's playing with you in the gym and exercising, and
she is a little version of me in terms of attitude, which every single worries me more and more. She's so fierce. She wants to do everything on her own, and she wants to be a part of it, and she wants to help. And it's so great to see. But at the same time, it's like when she is doing it, she wants nothing to do. She does not want your help. Stay away from her. She doesn't want to listen to anything. I'm just like,
she's going to be a good personal trainer.
I'm wrapped around her finger, so like I do whatever she wants at this point. But it truly is a blessing. It's really exciting to see. We just signed up for swimming lessons, and it's so funny because all of these businesses run the same, right? I signed up for the swimming lesson. I got the text message. I got the automated text message right away. Like, hey, we saw you're excited. I'm like, I see an opportunity
into the rec world. Stephanie, if you were a yoga pose, what would you be and why?
If you were a yoga pose, what would you be and why? I don't even know.
I'm just testing if you know any yoga poses.
Child's pose. Because I've heard that if you put your forehead on the surface, it automatically calms you down. And I think walking up to the wall to put my head on the wall would be just a little too obvious that I need to calm me down versus just going.
Give me a demo on that, please.
No.
Chris, where do people find you? And can you just tell people a little bit about, because I feel like there's the rocking studios that you use you to outsource you. There's also a studio that might be struggling and needs some help.
Yeah.
And, I
So
may think I can't afford another thing or.
yeah. Well, we work with, studio owners all across the spectrum, right? From, owners that are doing great that want to take it to the next level, from studio owners that are struggling and need some support, to the studio owner in the middle who just wants to get a little bit of work-life balance back, right?
Yeah.
Our goal at the Sales Arms is to take the tedious but necessary work off of the studio team and the studio owner so that they're able to really deliver on community experience and connect with their members, right? So what that looks like is doing all of the outreach to leads once they enter your system, building rapport with them so once they walk through your door, they're a warm lead walking through your door and you can
Yeah.
continue a conversation as opposed to starting a conversation. But our overall goal for all of our clients is to create a level of consistency within their sales and marketing process, but also to give them that comfort of knowing that you have a group of professionals that are passionate about the job that they're doing every day that allow you to know you're not alone in running your business, right? There's me who's been doing this for 15 years. Stephanie has joined the team that brings a wealth of knowledge. All of our sales reps have been general managers, sales managers, and like people say, right? You want an expert to handle your finances, right? You're not just going to hand it to a college kid that's on the street. We do this all day long, every single day, right? Even if I did bring somebody on that didn't have experience, by 6 months, they're probably more experienced than the top candidates that are in the job pool because of the level of consistency that we work with every day in working these leads. So we just want to make sure that you know that there's support for you there, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do all this on your own. So at the Sales Arms, we bring fitness professionals to work within your business virtually, right? So
Yeah.
that all sales and marketing work that needs to be done gets done no matter what is going on the ground, whether you have turnover, whether there's a life emergency that pulls your GM out or you out, no matter what, your leads are being worked, your members are being nurtured, and the gross revenue in your business is continuing to go up, right? And to answer your question, right, the studio owners that are struggling and feel like I can't pay for another thing, right? You have to look around and look at your team and say, in the same token, am I getting ROI from the individual that I have working my front desk, or do I have somebody here for a body, right?
Yep.
It's very hard to hire these days, and minimum wage continues to go up and up. And that's only one person. When you hire us, you get 3 or 4 people working on your account for what comes to the equivalent at the highest amount is less than you would pay for a full-time employee, right? On average, our clients that keep us for a year are paying, $24,000 for 4 people to work in 4 different areas of their business. It's a fraction of the cost. It's like $60 a day to have somebody who truly cares about their job and connecting with your leads to do that for you every day. And we just continue to grow. And I think the reason why we're so popular is because people understand that they need true, genuine support, and we are here to deliver that.
Well,
Yeah.
Thank you. And Stephanie brings, I mean, I think Stephanie, it's been such a great growth story. I think since I've seen you two meet a couple of years ago at Bold, and there's such a great synergy now on your team. And Stephanie brings a lot to the plate, I think, to the team. So it's really great to be here with you both. And thank
you. I
you.
didn't even pay him to say that, Chris.
No, well, I do. Stephanie, I love Stephanie a lot, but I do. It's just great to see, how Stephanie's become part of your team, and just seeing where you've gone, and she's got you on every podcast out there.
That the hardest part for me in starting this business was getting people to understand that that a service like this exists, right? Yeah. And Steph has done a great part in being able to get us in the places, just to let people know help is there, support there, right? And that is why I'm willing to go on any podcast, go on any webinar, and just let people know what their option is. I say it all the time. I don't want to sell the business, right? The work and the testimonials for what we've done will do the selling for us. But at least you know that we're there. You have it in your back pocket, right? You might not need it now, but we all know turnover is inevitable in running these fitness businesses. So being prepared to even just use this as a stop loss, right? My GM just got a career offer. They're leaving me in 2 weeks. What do I do, right? Call us up. In most cases, it takes anywhere from 2 to 5 days to be up and running within your business. Boom, we're continuing to have, that process to go on, as opposed to that GM left now, you're trying to hire somebody, you're hiring quickly as opposed to hiring the right person because you need somebody to do it, right? Having us now allows you also to be picky about who you hire because the job is getting done. You don't have to be rushed into to replacing somebody. You now get to find the right person, just not the fastest person to Indeed,
Well, thank you so much. And if it's okay with you, Chris, I'm going to drop my booking link into the podcast show notes. And if anybody's interested to have a conversation, it is a direct booking link to the owner himself. So Chris will have a conversation with you on that about your studio. So thank you so much, both of you. And thank you for coming up with the subject. And it's perfectly timely. So thank you again.
I appreciate you for having us, and anytime you want me to come on and share anything, I'm more than willing to. Knowledge is power, and we're stronger together sharing it. So I will continue to do my best to share all the knowledge that I have to whoever wants to hear it.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
As you can tell, I'm a big fan of the sales arms, and I only partner with companies I truly believe in. So if you want a direct booking with the man himself, Chris, please just go to the show notes for this podcast and book an appointment with him to see if they are a fit for your yoga studio. So check out the show notes. Also, all of my partners are on my website. If you go to yogabizchamp.com/podlink, and then click on resources, you'll see all of my partner links and direct links to also the YouTube version of our podcast. Let's take a moment to breathe and talk about turning your yoga business dreams into reality and nurturing the growth of your yoga sanctuary. At Yoga Biz Champ, I offer 2 specialized coaching packages tailored just for you. My Starter Studio package is designed for dreamers ready to bring their vision of a yoga studio to life, while my Grower Studio package supports existing yoga studio owners in expanding their impact and community reach. Remember to follow, like, and leave a review wherever you're listening to this podcast. Your support helps me connect with more yoga visionaries like you. Until next time, keep stretching towards your dreams. Namaste. So again, head over to yogabizchamp.com/podlink.